Oh, I said too fast.
Are you alright?
I squashed the berries. Ladies and gentlemen, the berries are squashed. She sells seashells by the seashore. How's the lighting? How's the lighting? Do I look good? Do I look good? Has anyone ever told you how beautiful my eyes look? How much time?
You're on.
I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, I can't hear you through this mustache. The Human Torch was denied a bank loan. Oh.
The camera is on.
How much time? I love martinis. Teeny weeny weenies. Down in my belly.
I love lamp. I love lamp.
Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy. So this is another user-submitted request by one of my subscribers, Nicole. And Nicole writes, "Hey Pablo, I'm loving your videos. As a movie fan, I'm sure you heard that Fred Willard passed away recently. He played the news director in one of my favorite comedies, Anchorman. Since it's my birthday, I'm wondering if you could please review Anchorman for me." Well, firstly, thank you for writing in, Nicole. And secondly, happy birthday! I hope you have many more years of health, success, and happiness. Here's to you for another year of kicking ass at life. And for the rest of you guys, if you want to submit your movie requests, it's very, very easy. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button below and get busy writing in the comments. Now, let's talk about Anchorman.
Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy.
Ron Burgundy, played by Will Ferrell, is a chauvinistic anchorman of a top news program in a male-dominated world of 1970s broadcast news. He begins to feel threatened with the arrival of an ambitious female reporter, Veronica Corningstone, played by Christina Applegate, as she begins to outshine him at his own game, thus starting a battle of the sexes. From the director who gave us Step Brothers, The Big Short, and Vice, Adam McKay further elevates his career and Will Ferrell's star power with this 2004 comedy. And this movie delivered non-stop laughs with memorable quotes, and is still one of the most memeable comedies till this day.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
Now I gotta tell you guys that I think comedy is a very difficult genre for any filmmaker to tackle. Why? Because of its very subjective nature. We all have different tastes and there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's a good thing. But with a comedy as beloved as Anchorman and given its age, the real question is, does this comedy still hold up? Well, let's run it through the old ringer and find out.
Cannonball!
Now, many of you already know that I like to end my videos on a positive note, so let's start with the negatives first. Starting with the fact that some of the jokes can be a little bit to very juvenile.
Smells like Bigfoot's dick!
Within minutes into this film, we can already tell that this is a lowbrow kind of comedy, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but what I'm talking about specifically, aside from the erection jokes and playground style of name-calling, they kinda went over the top with the sexual harassment gags. I mean, a lot of it worked for me, but even I can say that some of this would be seen as borderline offensive. It's not a question about the quality of each of these gags, but more so the quantity. I mean, they really milk it.
Milk was a bad choice.
Could you milk me?
This movie is making fun of the non-PC culture of the 1970s, and there's a very fine line between funny and offensive. This film isn't treading lightly on that line, it's dancing on it while wearing a blindfold. Not all of it worked for me, but admittedly, a lot of it did. So it all depends on you, the individual, on how you take some of these jokes. But remember, this is a Will Ferrell movie, so adjust your expectations accordingly, because there's a lot of over-the-top performances just to stick the landing on a joke.
I'm in a glass case of emotion!
Now let's talk about what the movie did exceptionally well. The story is really well paced and it's just non-stop hilarity. Even in its lulls, you're never left wanting, because all you have to do is give it a couple of seconds and you know another funny joke is just around the corner.
You're so wise.
There's a specific cadence to the story beats and the comedy used within it. It's as if it knows exactly when we've caught our breath long enough just to hit us with another side-splitting joke. And here's one of the best parts. Will Ferrell doesn't carry this film on his own, because he doesn't need to. This film is stacked with a talented supporting cast and a plethora of cameos from the likes of Ben Stiller, Vince Vaughn, Luke Wilson, Danny Trejo, Tim Robbins, Seth Rogen, and Jack Black. And of course we have Ron Burgundy's news team with Paul Rudd as Brian Fantana as the man in the field and self-proclaimed ladies man, David Koechner as Champ Kind who covers sports and has a creepy infatuation on Ron, the always funny Steve Carell as the intellectually challenged Brick Tamland who covers the weather, and Christina Applegate as Veronica Corningstone with dreams of being the first anchorwoman in television history. And that just makes her the perfect foil and love interest of our main character. Speaking of our main character, Ron Burgundy is a narcissistic, chauvinistic buffoon with a heart of gold.
I'm kind of a big deal.
There's so many things about his personality that you would normally hate in a person. But Will manages to make him lovable and endearing. And this is probably the best character that Will Ferrell's ever played so far.
I want to be on you.
You can just tell when the cast are all truly having fun, and all that energy is manifested on the screen for us to enjoy. You know, apparently that Will said in an interview that he got this idea for this movie from watching a documentary on news and was captivated by the 70s news anchors. Can you believe that if Will never saw that documentary, we would never have this film or its sequel? Crazy.
That doesn't make sense.
Now, I must admit that the narrative is a bit thin and has a very basic plot, and it relies heavily on the gags working. But that's not a negative, because thank Odin's beard, the gags work. So much so that I still hear people quote some of the lines. Not to mention all the memes that came out of it. It's just riddled with classic one-liners.
Why don't you go back to your home on Whore Island?
I think this movie was the perfect blend of different styles of comedy, from slapstick, satirical, and mockumentary. It knows what it is. It's not trying to be clever or sophisticated. It's dumb fun and puts these characters on parade while the movie just runs with it. And a couple of things I want to mention. If you're a fan of Rick and Morty, Chris Parnell, who voices Jerry Smith, is here in a small role.
Poop mouth! Poop out of your mouth!
Now let's talk about the late and great Fred Willard, who recently passed away last week. Fred plays Ed Harkin, the chief and the one who basically runs the Channel 4 news station. Fred is known as an improv king, and he has this earnest and sincere approach to his delivery of comedic lines. And he was nothing short of hilarious in this film. But fear not, because we'll be seeing him again in the upcoming Netflix comedy called Space Force, with Steve Carell as the lead. That show debuts next week Friday, May 29th. Now before I share my final thoughts, just a quick reminder to click like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on my weekly videos. Subscribe. And if you like my content and you're feeling generous, become one of my valued subscribers by signing up to my Patreon. You'll find the link in the description below. And now for my final thoughts. Starting with the lows, some jokes can be juvenile. And as for the highs, the story and jokes are well paced, a hilarious supporting cast of characters, and memorable gags.
Great story. Compelling and rich.
So overall, I friggin' love this movie. Now there may be a few jokes here that might offend, but it's a satire that tackles sexism and the mindset of people back in that era. So if you go in with that frame of mind, I think you'll be okay.
60% of the time, it works every time.
And as for me, this film ages like fine wine. I feel like they just don't make comedies like this anymore. The runtime is 1 hour and 34 minutes with a Rotten Tomatoes score of 66%. So almost 7 out of 10 critics liked it. I think those are very good odds that you will too. Oh, and there's a blooper reel during the end credits, so make sure to stick around so you don't miss it. And as far as comedies go, I think this could easily be one of the greatest of all time. So have you seen Anchorman, The Legend of Burgundy yet? If so, I've shared my thoughts, now I want to hear yours in the comment section below. And while you're there, let me know what I should review next. Remember guys, I take user-submitted requests, so all you have to do is subscribe and comment. And who am I, you ask?
I'm Ron Burgundy? You stay classy.
Hey guys, it's me again. So you want to subscribe to my channel but you don't know how? Well, all you have to do is click right here. And if you like this video and you want to see more, well, why didn't you say so? Hit it, Thanos!